know how to get through the browser. Our systems are locking us out.
Okay. Guess we can go ahead and get, nope, there he is. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get started. We'll call this meeting to order for the July 6th meeting of the City of Kalamazoo Tree Committee. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Hope you had a wonderful weekend. We'll begin with a roll call, and I will start us off. My name is Anthony Ladd, and I'm the Public Works Division Manager for City of Kalamazoo.
Ryan LaBelle, Fourth Supervisor for the Public Works, City of Kalamazoo.
Patrick McBerry, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation, City of Kalamazoo.
Steve Skalski, Assistant City Engineer and Water Superintendent, City of Kalamazoo.
Gail Walter, Representative of the Environmental Concerns Committee.
Deborah Nichols with Consumers Energy.
Tim Raymond, CEO for Greenleaf Hospitality Group, Radisson.
Yeah, well, I don't know if Eric was going to call, or I'm assuming Eric's there because his name's popped up, but we'll count him as being present unless we find out otherwise. But yeah, and then we'll move into introductions of our guests for today. Mr. Raymond introduced himself. We have one more, Ms. Davis.
Yes, I'm Lori Davis. I'm a landscape architect representing Greenleaf Hospitality at Hurley and Stewart.
Wonderful. Thank you all for being here today as well. So last week, Karen had sent out both the agenda for this week and the minutes from the June 1st meeting. We'll go ahead and begin with approval of agenda. And like we've been doing for these virtual meetings, we will assume that unless there are any objections, that motions pass unanimously.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those anybody opposed? All right, moving forward. The minutes for last month, June 1st, were also included. Did everybody have a chance to review those? Was there anything that needed to be edited or added?
I have one small edit.
Okay.
And this is towards the end of the whole discussion from the property owner, Mr. Sortland, and a statement that was attributed to me about underground utilities on the right side of the property. Actually, they're overhead utilities, not underground. I'm not smart enough to know if they're underground. I can only see them if they're overhead.
Okay. Yep, I see that on the top of page 4. Okay, yeah, we will get that changed. Notwithstanding, is there anything else needed to be added or changed? Hearing none, would someone make a motion to approve?
Motion to approve last month's meeting minutes.
I'll second.
All those in favor or anyone opposed? All right, so approved. Moving forward on the agenda for today's one item of new business is 100 West Michigan Avenue, the project there for Zazios. There's a tree removal request being brought forth by Hurley Stewart with Lori and Tim here today. So I guess at this time, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you as far as, if you kind of want to lay out this request, what prompted this request. I do have your pictures that you had sent in as well as your landscape plan. So if you just want to let me know what you want to take a look at, I can kind of I'll follow your lead.
Yeah, do you want me to share my screen or would you like to just present the plan?
You're more than welcome to, certainly.
All right, I'll try and share my screen. Sometimes bopping between different types. Let's see here.
Yeah, we might. Okay.
Is that showing?
Yes, looking at the landscape plan.
Yep. So this is showing both the tree removals and proposed plantings. This current area here is a patio for the previous Zazio's restaurant. And the plan is to increase the building, do a little build out in this area. And they are putting some granite fascia on this new building, so large granite panels, and the construction managers have said that that's not going to be possible to maintain these 4 trees in this area. So the plan is, as soon as they can move forward and do that construction, they would put trees back in the area. Obviously, the 2-to-1 replacement for trees removed within the right-of-way can't really fit in that particular area, but we would propose putting back 4 similar trees in the area, planted very similarly to how they currently are planted. I've proposed Katsura trees, 3-inch Katsura trees, because a lot of municipalities are moving away from the ornamental pears due to their invasive nature. But the Katsura tree is a similarly shaped, similarly sized tree that does well in urban situations. And then the proposal would be to plant the remaining 4 additional trees in locations directed by the city in an area nearby, either replacing dead trees or in areas that need additional trees.
Okay. Yeah, I think typically, we've in the past our ratio of replacement has kind of fluctuated. It's certainly not something that's set in stone as of yet. We still have to revise or revisit our tree ordinance, but no, I certainly appreciate that information. I guess if you wouldn't mind, could you go into a little more detail on why these need to be removed, or why, through the construction process, what is it that's actually, requiring them to be removed? I mean, these are right-of-way trees, and if the work is being all constructed off of the right-of-way, and maybe I missed it, can you maybe explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, as I understand it, the fascia of the proposed building has these large granite panels that cover the entire, where there aren't windows, there's these granite panels. So in order to place those, work will have to happen. They'll need machinery in that area where the trees are. They just wouldn't be able to place them with the trees being where they are.
Okay, so it's actually from a construction standpoint.
Right.
Okay. It's not that after the fact they won't be, if you could get those in without disturbing the trees, it's not that the trees would be in the way after the fact, but it's literally for constructing that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah,
That might be,
In construction, the trees have pretty much already been I wouldn't say destroyed, but the root structure has been pretty
Compromise.
Yep.
well, I know, and this might be a good time to pull up the pictures that you had sent in, but I guess I was a little concerned too, because it looked like there was quite a bit of material already stockpiled around and on top of those trees. I would say probably, at least 18 inches, maybe even a couple feet.
Is that from the first picture? I'm not sure what.
No, that's they not from pictures that you submitted,
Okay.
just currently
On the site.
on the site. it looked like excavated material had been stockpiled on the right of way, basically, surrounding those 4 trees.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the current status of the site is. Tim, can you speak to that?
I didn't have my eyes on it yet today, but I could go look. I mean, there is fencing that has been added for protection of the job site. And I know the trees are kind of overgrowing into that area. So I'm not exactly sure about stockpiling anything around the actual trees, but for sure I could take a look.
Yeah, the fence was, I believe, on the outside of those trees, and there's a good berm of stockpiled material there, and that compromises the health of the trees quite a bit. Brian, that might be what you're alluding to, or maybe just from the construction process already.
Well, just at the construction process already, those there's like a strip that was removed, pretty much that included a majority of the roots of those trees.
Yeah, I looked at it yesterday and it definitely is a construction zone. So I agree with your assessment that construction has already started and impacted the trees.
Okay, so before we kind of move forward, I guess, or continue the conversation, are there any questions from anyone in the committee?
I have a question, and I'm, as you alluded to, these are calorie pears, and they're considered invasive in a lot of areas, and so I certainly am not opposed to getting rid of those and replacing them with another species. And Katsuras are not known to be invasive, but I'm kind of curious because Katsuras are native to Japan and China, and I wondered, would there be a consideration for using a tree species that's native to the Midwest? That would be a similar size.
Yeah, certainly that's a possibility. I selected the Katsura just because I know it does well in an urban situation, and it would be a similar size to these trees, so it would meet kind of the original intent of the plantings.
Yeah, I guess any supplemental plantings outside of these proposed, any additional plantings from this site, I think could be a good opportunity to replace or we have several dying or dead trees downtown or available planting spaces. Downtown trees are kind of a premium. We've discussed that before with prior requests. So any opportunity that we have to replant where trees have failed in the past or declined would be great.
So I was thinking, just south of that, the other part of the mall, there's spaces and there's a few dead trees that were just removed. So
Would that be across Michigan Ave or?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any concern or, in our ability to replant trees in this location with the work that's been done, or, any reason to think that there wouldn't be success in planting new trees?
I wouldn't. I'm sorry. I wouldn't expect any trouble as long as the hole is excavated to allow for growth of plants. And once that work is done, there's no more continued compaction of the site.
most of the soil in there is probably fill, so it's probably not the worst soil in the world. Is probably there for that reason.
With the grass being so green, is there irrigation in there, Brian? Do they have sprinklers?
Yeah, I think so. I definitely saw some sprinkler lines in there.
Yeah. So they should be able to be established there as long as they don't have any like non-electric underground utilities like water or sprinkler systems or whatever.
Yeah, there is a whole line of utilities that go through there. Obviously, that would be, they take caution when they're moving plants and replanting plants to ensure that this dig has been called and know exactly where everything is.
Do you think to facilitate that work, you'd require additional space on the mall? You know, I'm kind of concerned with having heavy equipment further the mall.
That's going to be I'm guessing the last step is going to be planting, so it's not going to be the heavy equipment. It's already going to be, everything's going to be built by that time.
It's not the planting that I'm concerned about, it's the removal.
Yeah, I don't think that it would be problematic. You know, worst comes worst, they can have a small bobcat or something like that. There'd be a lot of hands-on work just to make sure that they're not disturbing any of the utilities.
There's just a good bit of decorative paver work throughout that area.
Yeah, I'll make sure to add notes about the contractor being responsible for existing workmanship of the site.
So besides the locations of the other 4 trees, we're thinking either a katsura or something, maybe native, something like a hop hornbeam or a coffee or a hornbeam or something like that.
Yeah, we'd be happy to make a switch to something like that if that's something you'd rather see.
Gail, does that sound like a good proposal to you? Is there something that you?
Yeah, if those are comparable size, you know, some of the ones that I was, thinking about would be one of the service berries or, a crab would be about the same size, or like a thornless hawthorn. So, yeah, but I like Brian's suggestions as well. But I just think it's nice to consider a tree that's native locally rather than one that, has come from a different part of the world that doesn't have any particular, value in the ecosystem other than shade.
Yeah, I think one thing that whatever species we end up with, we need to be mindful of its location and, from a maintenance standpoint, and from, aesthetics for sure, but, we don't want something that's going to be a high maintenance tree in this location more so than our other, right-of-way locations.
Yeah, I was thinking less of like the crab apple because just the temperamental, and they're kind of smaller. The hornbeam, the hop hornbeam, and the coffee tree are larger, mid-sized trees that can fit there.
Yeah, I think that the hornbeam would be a good similar size tree, good fall color.
And you had said a 3-inch
Yeah.
caliper? Okay. And then I guess for the other 4, Brian, that would be something that we could, I mean, I'm not sure of the locations in particular, what kind of constraints they might have, but would you be able to
Yes.
navigate that? Okay.
So motion to approve with regards to removal of 4 pear trees with replacement of 8 trees, 4 at the current location, 4, those 4 being hornbeams at 3-inch caliper. Can we ask for a replacement? Like a 2-year guarantee they're going to be alive?
I think we've added, warranty statements conditional to the permit before.
Is that something you guys would be okay with, the 2-year guarantee?
Yeah, Tim's saying yes.
All right. So a motion to approve with the 4 replacement hornbeams going in the place of the pears, and 4 other in the general vicinity downtown later to be determined.
Okay, yeah, just work with me as far as getting some plans pulled together and we'll wrap it up.
So motion.
Well, there's someone to second that motion
I'll
for
second that.
I'll second the motion.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion has passed. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank y'all very much, and we'll be reaching out for next steps.
Sounds good.
All right. So that concludes our new business for today. There is an item remaining from old business, Bank Street realignment project, tree species. I'm still waiting on an updated landscaping plan. I think last time we met, we talked about there was a plan or additional plantings being added along the east side of Bank Street from, not Collins, but the next block south of Collins. I can't draw on a blank on that road, right in front of the farmer's market. But to add plantings at a pretty good interval to where we can fit quite a few trees along there, but I still don't have the landscape design sheet yet. I'll request that again after this meeting. Any questions on that? Okay. Moving into action items, there are none for this month. Again, this is an item that we've added to the agenda to follow up with previous tree committee decisions, and show, or to come back to the committee and to the public and show what actions were taken, or to make sure that we're following up on these within a year's time to see the condition of the plantings, to see and make sure that the applicants that come forward in front of the committee follow up on what's been done. If there's no questions on that, we'll move into public comment. Were there any comments received today?
There were no public comments at this time.
Thank you. And last but not least, moving into committee comments. We'll see if there's any for the committee. I always have something to say, it seems like. So somebody else. Go ahead.
I could just ask my standing question. Tell us about the update for the tree ordinance.
So we had a meeting scheduled finally.
Storms.
Well, there was so probably between 24 and 48 hours out, there was some scheduling conflicts for about either 3, maybe 4 members at the last minute. And I really, we've had such and Gail, we've sent out the poll for scheduling this twice now, because it's so important to have. I really want the full committee input on this, and really not just sucking up to y'all, but we each kind of represent a different aspect of the tree committee, and that's why we have these positions to balance this out. So when that one person that represents, what they advocate for isn't part of that conversation, I think it really hurts something like trying to shape this policy or this ordinance that we'll move forward with. So I'm adamant, to get everybody on board, to find a date and a time that works for everybody so we can kind of begin this process. Does that make sense? And I do hope that we find something either at the end of this month or beginning of August. I think if Karen hasn't already, she'll be sending out another poll to find another date that works for everybody. And maybe it is that we schedule this out far enough ahead to where nobody has scheduling conflicts. But yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because it kind of does give me a minute to explain that. It's something that I feel we should have, full committee participation for. Is there anything else from committee members? Okay. Not sure if it had happened at the time of last month's meeting, but the city has a fall tree planting project slated to begin in September. That will be with Twin Lakes Nursery right out of Grand Rapids. They had done our planting project last year, and this year's planting project includes 300 plantings. We had also bid out our tree maintenance trimming project this year for block pruning. In addition to, hopefully, our hazardous tree removal program will be coming out soon as well. So really excited to have these tree focused projects. And of course, our tree inventory is well underway, and we're getting updates on that. And I hope probably in another month and a half, I'll have some more news to share on that as we kind of conclude that inventory and have some metrics to report to the committee. Okay, with that, I guess would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. I don't know if I can, but I don't ever get to, so second it. Anyone opposed to that? Not hearing none. Thank you everybody for your time today. Brian, thank you for following up on this action and the others. And thank you for participating, and we will see each other soon. Thank you.
Okay.